Good morning, shut-ins.
Yo.
How's everyone doing today?
So,
Glad to have you guys. With us. What's up, Laura Lee? What's going on, Heather Marie? Glad to have you guys here.
good morning.
Good morning, April.
Good morning, Heather Marie Brown. I won't be here to win. I'll get to go a sunburn. Sorry, guys. Love you. Well, whatever. I think you mean I'll be getting to go get a sunburn. Sorry, guys. So you're going to be outside? Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool, Laura. You see, you got other important things to do this morning, I guess.
Morning, Laura.
I guess we won't be seeing you this morning.
Morning, Robin.
Hey, Jessica.
Hey, Sheila.
Why are you exhausted, Jessica? Good morning, Karina. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, Sheila.
So super excited to have Grant Smith on today and Jodi Chapin with Green Nurse on the Grow with Nate Andrade.
Grant like, damn, I gotta come on this shit again.
Huh.
Like, I gotta come on here again. Do I gotta? Next time he gonna be like, yo, we're gonna have to pre-record this. Still coming up as Facebook user. 'Cause you still signed in under the page. You need to unsign from the page. And go to your regular profile. And your name should pop up in the comments as you.
Sorry for that weird spamming thing. But yeah, hearts for Jodi. And hearts for Nate too. And hearts for Grant Smith. Guys, make sure.
Heart for you.
And make sure you share the show if you feel like it. And actually, if you share it to your personal page, that probably helps the most. Because I share it to a bunch of people. What's up, Lady J? Nice to see you. Long time no see, Lady J. Feels like.
I need to share the show. What should be my line today, guys? Come on. Need you guys to come up with something. Don't be scared.
You should say, watch this, or Mike definitely won't eat eggs.
Nah, I gotta get it for new viewers. People don't understand that.
Free stuff. Watch and win free stuff. What's that?
I ate some of them.
Did you? How was it?
Oh, yeah.
How was it?
Last night when I came in, I was like, not finna miss this opportunity. No, they're actually really good.
So
they're actually really sweet, too. They taste good. They don't even taste bad. They don't taste like the store-bought.
So, you missed it this morning, but Nate and April came by.
What?
And guess what they brought for you? Ooh, look at that smile, look at that smile. Oh my God,
Lordy.
look at that smile.
Damn, these things is heavy.
So what you have in your hand is a white chocolate peanut butter cup that has infused peanut butter and infused jam. It has infused jam inside.
Let me tell y'all.
It's one of the very special infused jams. So
don't nobody else got this.
Nobody
I'm
else.
just
This
telling
is
y'all,
brand new. This is brand
like,
new.
Y'all not even.
It's so new. It doesn't even have
I'm the
packaging yet. Look.
exclusive taste tester.
And the dark chocolate one right here with the
we don't
peanut
care
butter
about
and
that
the.
one. We don't care about.
But
we
these
only
are
care
special
about
for him. The white chocolate ones because he
these
doesn't like chocolate.
That's why y'all ain't got me. Y'all not gonna get cute. What's up, George? What's up? George, remember?
You should totally try one of those.
I'm not gonna try it right now. I gotta wait till more people get on. It's not a lot of people watching.
There's plenty of people watching.
Oh no.
We also should start the contest.
Avro.
We should also start the contest, which is not these delicious chocolate. So yeah, one of them is, this one's dark chocolate, Jessica, with peanut butter. It's got peanut butter. All right, so he's gonna wait to do his. I'm gonna bust, and it's really cold, so it might you know how the chocolate might kind of break when you leave them in the fridge, but these you gotta keep refrigerated because they will melt really quickly if you leave them out, I think. But like, look at the hump in the middle there, the hump of love.
Well, I see all y'all comments. I know y'all jealous.
Look at that hump of love.
Y'all super jealous. Ooh,
so I'm glad that we're having Grant on, and I'm glad that we're having
so
Jodi
I can eat these while
Green Nurse on
y'all
the Grow and
while y'all
Nate,
sit here and watch the show.
because once I eat some of this, my response time is going to go way
Jessica
down.
said, "Bring it to me." Oh, Jessica, it's gonna be in my belly button.
All right, look at that.
Ooh, this for all the people that be always showing they food, talking about, oh yeah, I had this and this for breakfast. Well, guess what? Y'all ain't got this.
Oh, it's stupid good. Holy crap! By the way, it's not quite dark chocolate. It's like dark milk chocolate, but
I know y'all
like
hating right now.
It's not really milk. It's like chocolate.
It's a lot of hate. We got.
Oh my god, that is so good. That is so dangerous. So Avril, I can't taste. It's the white chocolate has the strawberry jam. The milk chocolate has the berry explosion jam.
Just to get you.
And there's
how big this
Avril.
thing
It tastes
is.
so good.
Huge.
It literally tastes. I could not tell that these are infused. Yeah, Craig, I'm in trouble. That's why I'm saying You got. Ooh, it's leaking. Show him. You got to show him all the.
Show him and eat it.
Yeah, this one came out good when I bit into it.
Aw.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Lee good. Anyway. All right, so yeah, I know, right, Jessica? We have to keep them refrigerated though. That's the only problem. I'm gonna have to put them on like dry ice in a cooler or something. Ooh, it's dripping. I'm gonna eat that. So Avril, the berry explosion jam sat a lot better. Although the white chocolate, I think it's just the white chocolate's really thick. Yeah, the white chocolate one was really like thick chocolate. And honestly, even though it's delicious, I want the stuff that's inside a lot more than even the chocolate. I could even.
Whoa, no. Cool it with your words.
I could even do with less, even a little bit less chocolate. But it's really crazy good. It's
all right. Here's my review. You gotta do it like the TV shows. They always do this. Their body go, Seasoning you get is just there's so much chocolate and the peanut butter. It mixes with the jam so well and it's just so heavenly. And the jam just has this little kink. And you see when I bit it, it was dripping. That's because I had to catch it. And then when I catch it, it gives you that little extra work that you want to do when you eating such a delicious snack. You always want to fight for it because you know the deliciousness is worth it. Just like fighting for love. when you love somebody and they keep getting on your nerve, you fight for that. And this is what this is like. You love this, and it's dripping and it's falling, but you like, oh my God, let me just catch it and just give it this TLC.
So look, we'll probably never be able to give these away on the show because they'd have to stay refrigerated, and I don't know, I don't ever see
No,
that.
but we wouldn't give these away on the show because it ain't not for y'all.
But what I will say is if you win jam, you can probably make something close to this. I know it's not won't all be
Negative.
infused. You could
Won't
make your
even be
own
close.
peanut butter cups with the same infused jam.
Won't even be close.
And with that said, today we're going to give away a jar of jam. Today is jam day. Jam day! All right, so everyone,
I need to wash my hands.
you're going to... And by the way, like, if you...
I just
sometimes
licked up all
the
the beard oil.
keto jam is made, sometimes the other jam's made. You may, depending on which one you choose, you might have to wait a few days before it even gets made for it to get shipped out. It always gets made super fresh. It's usually good for a long time because it's like canned jam. It's like real jam, but it's infused. You'll be able to either choose keto or non-keto. You can make your own peanut butter cups. In fact, if you do, you should make them and then take some beauty shots and send them to us, and we'll put them on if you actually make your own treats out of Avril's Jam. Hashtag Avril's Jam. Everyone give Avril a hashtag Avril's Jam. But let's do the contest. So,
Sorry, I'm sharing the thing, guys. Sorry.
Oh, is that what you're doing? You're sharing? I was just trying to think of what would be a good thing for, to like let people win today. So Scott, or whoever's saying, where's my top fan badge? First of all, you're logged in as Facebook user, so, oh no, it was Scott. Yeah, so anyone who, what's up, Jandy? Anyone who believes that they should have a top fan badge, which is pretty much everyone, if you go to the community tab on the Disrupt America page, it's where you can claim your top fan badge. And if you don't have one yet, it's because maybe you should be...
No, if you ain't got one, because you don't do enough. You know, it's like that relationship where it's always one-sided.
All right, so we're about
You
to...
don't do enough. Like, I need you to post me. Why you don't post me? Why you don't do this? Why you don't do that? That's because you're not loyal. And eventually we're going to have to break up. We're going to have to break this screen from your phone because you're not loyal. You're not doing everything in a relationship that you're supposed to do. We wake up in the morning and entertain y'all, but y'all don't like, comment, and share the show. That's the give and take in this relationship. We give y'all entertainment, and then y'all use that entertainment to show everybody else that's why you love us. And if you don't do that, then clearly you don't care about us, and you probably cheating on us with some other show. So
that happens a lot. There's a lot of
whatever
show
other morning
swapping.
show
There's a lot of show swapping going on in this community.
Oh, y'all dirty. Y'all dirty. Y'all dirty. Y'all
No.
so wrong. So wrong.
You can watch them all. That's fine. We don't judge. He does. I don't.
I judge. I definitely judge.
So, first of all, we need to recognize that Scott is here in the comments.
What? Hey, Scotty, too hot is back. And guess what, Scotty? You just a fan now.
No, he's not. He's actually still. He's got the
He's
top
a top
fan
fan?
badge.
Oh,
He's got the top
okay.
fan badge.
So that's crazy. You left, bounced for a little bit, came
Well,
back, and still got a top fan.
He had a doctor's note, though.
You didn't get depromoted that much.
He got a doctor's
You're
note.
not the super fan no more. I can tell you that.
So actually, Scott says that he might be able to be coming back for a few days a week because he does have to start.
How does
working.
Heather feel about that?
Well, they can split duties because Heather is actually so busy behind the scenes. I think Heather,
split.
even for instance today, can I tell you something? Heather has been doing so much work that she literally had to book a interview with somebody that's at noon today. So if we're not done by noon, she was like, "Hey, Mike, by the way, I'm gonna have to like bounce just before noon because it's an important guest you guys are going to have on and they want me to call them. Like that's how involved Heather is. So there's definitely, like, I think it'll work out perfectly because I think Scott is going to have a few days where he can be around, and then
I'm glad
that'll give Heather Marie, like,
I'm glad we found somebody better
help her
for the
retain
job.
her sanity. It's not like that.
Scott, hey, look at this is how we run our show like the Patriots. We just got to be 100% honest and transparent. Scott, you left.
I also talked with Scott about
Heather Marie stepped in and she picked up the slack.
So it would be really cool when we do the show at the Nano Tank. Hold on, it's tough. My fingers are reversed.
Scott,
see all this
Scott
up here?
I'm playing.
See all this up here? The Disrupt America thing? I want to have it be like a fish tank background that's live. I want to have it one of Scott's fish tanks that says Disrupt America over it when we do the show at the Nano Tank. Mm-hmm. That'll be sweet. That'll be awesome. And you'll see like the fishes swimming through the letters. The fishes will be swimming through the letters and stuff.
We can interview some fishes.
It's going to be so cool.
And see if Scott is treating them right, because we want to see how they act on camera. We want to make sure Scott's treating these fish right. We can do some 60-minute interviews with the betas. Because he be posting a lot of pictures of the betas, and they be looking like they be getting abused. I don't know.
So, by the way, Eric ate his entire cup because he kind of had to. He had to. I didn't even eat half of mine yet.
I'm just playing. Scott don't abuse this fish, guys.
just emotionally. Nobody wants you guys. See, I told you. If you swam better, maybe people would love you more and then they'd buy you and take you home.
He does.
Stupid spots on that fish. Maybe if you swam better.
Scott, stop drowning the fish. It's not cool.
Stop trying to drown them.
People are noticing that.
What's up, Ruben? Nice to have you on with us. What's up,
Ruben? What it do, baby? You guys are. Oh, I couldn't see what Heather said because somebody put a long comment and take up all the thing.
Yeah, you'd shout out to Heather.
Shout out
and
to Scott P. We miss you. Yeah, y'all miss Scott. We don't.
All right, let's start the contest before we get Grant Smith on. And in fact, knowing Grant, he's waiting in the Zoom room while we're messing around about Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet.
Grant don't want nothing to do with us.
Yeah, every single time we have Grant on, I'm always like, someday Grant's going to be like, yeah, I'm all set.
Grant probably not going to show up. He was like, yo.
I talked to him this morning.
I was supposed to come on yesterday. I only come on once a week, and it's Saturday. Anything other than Saturday, I'm not coming. Watch. That's what he's not going to show up. Watch. That's
all right.
Okay.
Laura Lee, we're about to start the contest, okay? So this is for Infused Jam today. It's going to be awesome. And by the way, anyone who's just joining us for some reason,
Infused Jam.
We got this morning infused peanut butter and jelly cups.
Today is Grant's birthday?
That has peanut butter and jelly in it. What?
Grant definitely ain't coming on. He finna have a party at his crib, finna have the strippers over, all that.
You mean furniture strippers?
Invite me over,
Furniture
Grant.
strippers.
Have a good one. Oh, he finna get on. Hold on.
Shh. Grant's coming.
Yo, what it do, Grant, baby?
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Today's your birthday?
I guess word got out. Yes, indeed it is.
Man, I heard that you was finna have a party, had some strippers over and stuff. I wasn't sure if I was invited.
Oh, goodness, no. I think to the extent of my partying, will be eating some chicken from my favorite local restaurant.
Well, we not gonna miss the chance to sing happy birthday to you, Grant, on live, so. Happy birthday to you. Woo, 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 woo. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear my man's Grant. Happy
Happy birthday to
My man.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I always enjoy your singing, Eric, so I feel very honored that I got treated to personal rendition.
Hey, Grant, we celebrate birthdays. We celebrate birthdays with excitement around here. It's good to make it around the earth one more time because, a lot of people don't, a lot of anything can happen. So we just want to make sure that your last birthday, or my last birthday, not saying that, this is going to be our last birthday. That's kind of weird.
He's saying potentially, if it might be.
Yeah.
It could be all of our last birthday.
We celebrate birthdays hard. I celebrate birthdays hard, at least, for other people. So, just want to say happy birthday, man. We love you.
Thank you a lot. I have a lot of love for you guys as well. I really respect and appreciate the work that you do. And I really agree with you that you really do have to smell the flowers sometimes while you can still see them, because we sometimes take people for granted. We take our own lives for granted, and it's hard to appreciate sometimes how much the people in your life really mean if you don't take that time to sort of let them know. So, not just about me. I am always thrown off a little bit when a discussion is about me, but I really appreciate in general that you guys keep other people in mind like that, and I love your passion for celebrating birthdays. So I'm happy to be here with you.
Yeah, man, it's always fun, man. I love, man. That's what it's about. It's about making people happy, man, and especially if you do it in front of a bunch of people, then the love is just spread it, and the energy is spread it. So it's always fun.
It is.
So, Grant, before we get going, once again, I didn't start. Morning, Ben from the Talking Dead. Morning, Brian.
Contest.
Morning, Brian. We need to start the contest. So, by the way, Grant, just as a reminder, and have you ever tried Avril's jam?
I actually, about 8 months ago, when I first hurt my back, had the pleasure of getting to try some, and I found it very lovely and helpful. So,
well, if you liked it then, can you just imagine what it's like now that she's been?
I've been collecting a lot of taxes
away and refining this.
I've been collecting a lot of taxes and jam, so I'll make sure you get some of that.
Well, yes, I'm sure she only gets better each batch she makes, but it was heavenly and it really helped my back.
So today we're giving away jam as today's daily contest, and so people can choose either keto jam or non-keto, like regular, and they're both infused. Grant, I don't know if you saw it, but Avril this morning dropped off these infused peanut butter and jelly cups to us.
Wow.
The folks at home saw it. I'm going to hold it up to your camera.
Looks delicious.
That's her jam inside of there. That's amazing. I think what would be a cool idea is if people took her jam that won it and then they made stuff out of it, like cool stuff like peanut butter cups or whatever. Anyway.
Dan the man.
Yeah, so by the way, in the comments, Brian Riccio says, don't take Grant
for granted.
Oh.
We got to make some shirts like that.
Yeah, actually, so Grant, if we give you all any money that's made off of it, can we make a Disrupt America t-shirt that says, don't take Grant for granted?
Yeah, I don't want any money from it, but let's find a nonprofit that all the revenue minus what you spend to print them can go to. I think that would be nice. Sure.
That'd be really cool. Okay, we're gonna.
I'm definitely planning that.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Christy. All right, so we're doing the giveaway for the jam again. So Grant, I think last time that you were on, we asked for your help, right? We needed something for people to guess, right? That. Mm-hmm. And we don't want it to be like, just a find. It kind of needs to be a little bit open-ended if possible, right? So people can have plenty of guesses. And plus the cool thing is that even if somebody guesses it first, they have to be here at the end of the show to win. So for some reason they're not here. People who choose the same guess second or third place, they might actually win. We've had that happen a few times. So Grant, that all said, what do you, and you last time you did a bang up job, like I think and I don't remember what it was, but whatever you chose was a really good thing and people loved it. So
Sea animal.
it was a sea animal, right? We went with the sea animal. What can you think of something today that would be like this is? And I was thinking of some stuff, but I want you to make it yours. I was thinking like, what if Grant wanted to visit someplace? Not where Grant has visited. It might be like Grant's dream place to visit, or Grant. It could be Grant's dream person to have like dinner with.
What? Okay.
That might be a little open ended. I guess since before I fell disabled, I was involved as a philosopher. We could guess my favorite philosopher. Some people might already know it because it might have been discussed a time or two, but that might be a fun one.
Well, what we should force people to do is make sure that they can pronounce your favorite philosopher's name. Because many of those dudes, I don't even, like, I feel stupid even trying to say their names. I was about to guess some just to, like, be smarmy, and then I'm like, I'm going to butcher it, and then I'm going to look really stupid, so that's not a good idea.
Whatever you think's best, I'll go along with.
So if we're gonna do if you know what, I want to think about the philosopher thing. I do want to do. Can you think of who you're like? If you could pick one person alive or past throughout history, that would be if you could only pick one person to have an awesome meal with, right? I mean, it's not like your last meal. It's
like I guess
you can guess too.
Tupac.
That's a good one. That would be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So Grant, I want you, if you can, I don't know if you're actually friends with Heather Marie Brown, but you can always message me. And if you message me who that person would be, then I can let Heather Marie Brown know and she'll look for the winner.
Sure. Although I'll let you know that it's going to be a philosopher. So there you go. That's the hint that people can have.
That's your first hint, folks. But remember, Grant might be tricking you. It could be like a modern day philosopher where it's like,
Elon Musk,
or the cartoon Ed, and Eddie for some reason that he feels that there was some really important stuff.
Ed, and Eddie.
But then you'd have to choose which Ed or Eddie. That it is. So hold on, I'm just looking for.
Well, if it's Eddie, then I know. Then I probably know what's going on.
Which Eddie? Okay, so that said, so I just mailed Heather Marie. So folks, you're picking, and there is a hint out there, but unless you were paying attention, you're picking the person that Grant, alive or dead, throughout history, would want to have dinner with. And so you're guessing, and if you missed his hint, that's all right. We're going to give it to you again in a little bit for those of you that weren't paying attention. So Grant, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Has there been any things going on in the last week with the cannabis industry here in Massachusetts that is notable or that?
Oh. Yeah, well, we already touched on last time, a few days ago when I was on, the fact that on Monday, May 25th, which is tomorrow, adult use sales are going to reopen in the Commonwealth. Those sales, of course, had been closed since Governor Baker's initial emergency order, which classified medical operations, but not adult use operations, as essential. And thus only medical cannabis operations were allowed to operate in the Commonwealth until this point. Now, there was some exception to that. I told you guys a little bit last time about how the nature of the CCC is very adaptive. And so after Governor Baker's emergency order, the CCC actually promulgated a slightly adapted regulatory rule, which allowed for adult use cultivators, producers, manufacturers, etc., to keep working with skeleton crews if they got special dispensation to designate that product for sale into the medical cannabis supply chain. Now, as I mentioned last time, this wasn't a great solution because it required a medical operator to pick which adult use companies were allowed to continue operating. So I'm kind of glad that's not going to be a permanent solution. But yeah, so there was at least something done to try to keep the most vulnerable businesses open. But starting tomorrow, the entire supply chain will be fully functioning again on the adult use side. So that is obviously a big development for people both in the application queue, consumers, and licensees who are already in operation.
And so, and forgive me if I missed it. Everything opening up on Monday morning will also mean that traditional rec-only operations that support rec dispensaries will also be able to resume operations as well, right?
Right, that's what I was getting at. The backbone of the supply chain is so on the adult use side, there's different types of licensees, cultivators, manufacturers, producers, retailers, delivery companies, micro businesses with delivery endorsements. And that whole supply chain will kick back into gear, albeit with adapted retail sales rules starting on Monday. Although, to clarify, there will be no adult use delivery as of yet, only curbside pickup, because currently adult use retailers cannot do delivery. They must partner with an economic empowerment or social equity delivery company, and those delivery companies cannot have other licenses that they own. So because it's going to be a few more months before one of those standalone delivery companies opens, there's only going to be curbside pickup for adult use for a while. And some folks, especially some dispensary owners, are upset about this. But the reality is that if adult use dispensaries could do their own delivery, there would be no economic empowerment or social equity delivery companies at all, because no one would use them. So it's quite important that the structure is that way, even if there's going to be a slight delay in the availability of adult use delivery for a few more months.
And Grant, one thing that I'm unclear about was that my understanding was that economic empowerment applicants, priority applicants who had the 2-year head start with, let's say, a delivery service, the EE prioritization, for instance, covers up to 3 separate license types.
Correct, but there are rules for each license type, and the rules for the delivery license in particular. And you can double check this, but they have very strict rules on other types of ownership.
Right.
And that was, as I mentioned, to prevent basically a brick and mortar company from monopolizing delivery and not allowing any of the other smaller companies to operate.
And yeah, I thought I will double check on it. I thought my understanding was that if you had a delivery service, you couldn't also own a dispensary, but that there were potentially other license types that might be open to you. Maybe like the social consumption or other types where delivering your own sort of like product or supply wasn't an option. But I'll definitely have to look into it more. It's interesting how and I'm glad you're here, Grant, because clearly you're teaching me lots of new things every time you come on.
And to give you the full context as to how the discussion around delivery evolved, so in the medical market, there's complete regulatory capture. Only vertically integrated medical companies can deliver. Now, that initially was the proposal for the adult use market as well. The dispensaries, the brick and mortar dispensaries, wanted it so that only they could deliver. Now, of course, the commission took one look at that and said, no, it's not happening. You're not getting a regulatory monopoly. You're not utilizing regulatory capture to prevent these smaller companies from being able to do delivery. So then there was a discussion, and I was actually involved in that discussion. Some of us wanted the commission to create a true standalone delivery license, where these delivery licensees would be able to own a warehouse, purchase product at wholesale from cultivators and manufacturers, and then do delivery from their warehouse of retail products. But the commission did not like that idea. So what they ended up doing was they ended up creating 2 types of delivery licenses. So one is the type of delivery license we were talking about, where a company can own cars and then go around and pick up product from retail dispensaries at retail price and then bring that to consumers, and they can make their money by charging a delivery fee. Now, the other type of delivery company is what the commission came up with as a compromise to, I think, address some of the concerns folks have been raising about how they can both cultivate and produce products and deliver them. And that's what's called a micro business. So I think a lot of your listeners will know what a micro business is, but a micro business is a adult use cannabis application type that allows a company to cultivate up to 5,000 square feet of canopy for cannabis flower, to purchase up to 2,000 pounds per year of cannabis flower from other cultivators wholesale, and then to either wholesale their products and flower to recreational dispensaries, or they have the option to apply what's called a delivery endorsement. Now, if a micro business applies for a delivery endorsement, they are the type of license that can then cultivate product, purchase product at wholesale, and sell retail only through delivery direct to customers. So there's two pathways for folks who are interested in getting into delivery, and it's really a question of which one they feel is more viable for their business.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, it's good. It's good, not only that there's options, but also that some of the folks that economic empowerment was intended to enable, that we actually have some good forward progress on stuff where some of these folks that are kind of getting into the Massachusetts cannabis business as a few years into it, right? That there's still ample opportunity for some of the folks that kind of need that kind of head start and assistance to have success within the industry. So it's great.
Well, and that's an important point for two reasons. Just to quickly give some context there. So delivery is actually a special type of application because the commission, to help specifically social equity and economic empowerment applicants, has created a structure that's called pre-certification. Now, a lot of folks know that there are a litany of barriers for applicants, whether they be social equity, economic empowerment, disadvantaged business enterprises, or general applicants, to getting into the adult use cannabis market because of barriers on the local level, especially in particular with getting an HCA. Now, the reason why that's a problem is that your state level priority, whether it's tier 1 priority if you're an EE or tier 2 priority if you're an SE, that priority doesn't mean anything until you get your local host community agreement and licensure from the town or city. But the Cannabis Control Commission has just decided to try a novel approach to kind of speeding up that process. And it's only available to delivery licenses, and I think social consumption licenses once they come along as well. And it's called pre-certification. And what it allows is an applicant going for a delivery only license to actually get, for almost no cost, to get basically initial approval from the Cannabis Control Commission that they can then take to their local city and town. And the hope is that by expediting that pre-certification without requiring, paying rent on a building or anything like that, these applicants, when they go to their local cities and towns, will have an easier time getting their host community agreements. However, and part of the reason why I was so glad you brought this up is that there's another big picture thing going on here, which is that right now there's a lot of discussion, both among the Cannabis Control Commission and about lawmakers, about how to sort of fix this fundamental iniquity in the licensure of adult use and medical cannabis use operators. So we don't have the data for medical cannabis licenses, although I think that when we get the data, we're going to find out that it's 100% white owned, the entire industry. And on the adult use side, the numbers are very bad as well. Only a small percentage, under 10% of companies in the adult use sphere are minority owned, black, brown, or otherwise, as the commission defines that. And part of the reason that happened was because of three fundamental problems: lack of access to capital for those smaller non-corporate applicants, lack of, as we were just talking about, ability to navigate the municipal licensing process due in particular to municipal bias, municipal racism, etc. And then third, lack of equity programs in the medical license process in particular. So what I'm proposing, both on the legislative level and on the level of the Cannabis Control Commission, is three specific fixes to really drive at the root of those problems. The first fix is actually not something I came up with, but something that Senator Sonia Chang Diaz, who is the co-chair of the Joint Cannabis Policy Committee on Beacon Hill, came up with. And that is Senate Bill 2650, 2650. Now, this bill would create a social equity loan fund that would allow applicants who are social equity or economic empowerment applicants to actually get no interest grants, in essence. Loans is the term they use, but in essence, they would be grants because there would be loan forgiveness in the proposal. That would allow these applicants to get funding while going through the application process so that they do not have to sell off ownership or control or enter into predatory agreements with private vulture capitalists or anything of that nature. So that's one part of it. The second part is a new proposal on the legislative level to introduce a mandatory municipal equity period that would force local cities and towns to develop programs to prioritize social equity and economic empowerment applicants for getting host community agreements. And the third fix is to address the fact that dating back to 2012, when medical cannabis was first legalized in Massachusetts and the market was set up, there has never once been a social equity or economic empowerment program in that license category. So I'm proposing that going forward, all new medical licenses for a period of 3 years only be issued to social equity or economic empowerment applicants, because that will give those applicants, in particular, if we de-verticalize or break up medical licenses into distinct categories, cultivation, manufacturing, and retail, and delivery, it will really give smaller companies the chance to get a foothold in the medical market, make a little bit of money, and then transition that equity stake into an adult use operation and sort of correct the imbalance that we see right now, where 193 basically white-owned medical dispensaries have taken over the adult use market, whereas only 9 EEs have been licensed. So those three proposals, I think, can fundamentally fix that broken ratio. And sorry for talking so much, but I'm very passionate about these. So.
No, I appreciate that. And plus, I had an infused peanut butter cup a little while ago, so I'm glad you're taking the reins here. Grant, that is some amazing stuff. And so, in terms of some of these proposals, like what are the next steps? What are the sort of like the expected timelines? How can people help or provide some assistance?
So I just linked the Senate Bill 2650 in the comments. This is single-handedly the most important thing that folks can do over the coming weeks. When the legislature comes back into session in June, they're in session now, but they're mostly doing emergency bills. In June, when Beacon Hill starts taking up discussion of bills that aren't coronavirus related, Senate Bill 2650 has to be on their radar. And the only way, this is the Social Equity Loan Fund, to get this much needed funding to the social equity and economic empowerment applicants without forcing them to enter into contracts, give up ownership or control or anything like that. This bill started off as a budget amendment last year. Senator Chang Diaz tried to do it that way and it didn't pass. This year, she's trying to get S 2650, as I mentioned, passed and then passed through the Senate and then signed by the governor. The reason why this is so crucial, and I want to give a big shout out to Felicia Gaines and Naomi Martin at the Boston Globe, who worked on an article about this. The tax revenue from cannabis last year in Massachusetts was $76 million. It's projected to be $250 million within 2 years. Of that $76 million in revenue last year, exactly $0 went to support communities that were most disproportionately impacted by the drug war. As a result, there is nothing that the legislature can do that would be more important when it comes to remedying that fundamental error than creating this loan fund. Because what it would do is it would take some of the cannabis tax revenue and make it available in the form of no interest loans to these applicants. And if constituents write emails to their senators, to their reps, in particular to Senator Chang Diaz, letting her know how much you support the bill, they will keep fighting for it and it will pass. So I implore folks, write your lawmakers, write your representatives, your state representatives, your state senators, and let them know that you support Senate Bill 2650 to ensure that small local economic empowerment and social equity applicants are not going bankrupt while going through the application process and then being forced to sell off control and ownership in their companies to predatory vulture capitalists just to be able to open.
Hallelujah. Preach, Grant, preach.
Well, so that's step one. Step two, when it comes to the proposal about municipal equity, I am working with some lawmakers now to get some language proposed. There is no bill yet, but it would not hurt if folks reached out to their lawmakers while talking about SB Senate Bill 2650, and also let them know that that social equity fund can be rendered inert unless lawmakers proactively take steps to ensure that local cities and towns are putting an emphasis on priority licensing for economic empowerment and social equity applicants. And the way they can do that is by creating a law that not only allows local cities and towns to create priority periods for just EE and SE applicants like Cambridge did in its historic cannabis business permitting ordinance that they just won in court over a few weeks ago, actually. They won a little battle in court. Someone tried to get the law struck down, and Cambridge won on one of the issues, and the law is actually in force right now. So anyway, not only allowing those cities and towns to do that like Cambridge did, but actually forcing them to implement some kind of priority structure for equity priority applicants. And then the third thing, as I mentioned, is folks don't really have an awareness that dating back to 2012, there has never been a social equity or economic empowerment program of any kind for medical licenses. So if you want the CCC to take this issue up and go to the lawmakers about it and demand a change, and if you want the lawmakers to listen, please email commission@cccmass.com, email the commissioners themselves individually, email your lawmakers and reps as well, and say that for a period of 3 years, the Cannabis Control Commission should only issue new medical licenses to social equity and economic empowerment applicants, because by combining those three proposals, the loan fund, the mandatory municipal equity period, and the mandatory 3-year priority period for medical licenses for equity applicants, we can and will correct the regulatory capture that was used by medical dispensaries, mostly white-owned, to capture the adult use in medical markets in a nefarious plot, in my opinion, to undermine market competition and protect their own profits ahead of equity and the interests of consumers and patients.
That's right, Grant.
Mic drop.
I have very little tolerance for industry forces that undermine good public policy to advance their own profits. And I think we've talked about this before, but public policy is not an opportunity to advance your personal profit at the expense of equity and the public good. That is you manipulating the regulatory process. And if you try to do that, and I catch you doing that, and this community catches you doing that, you're going to have a lot of very, very angry people chomping at the bit to call you out over it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because your statement is, or at least the first half of your statement is with the assumption that somebody has a moral compass that, guides them toward doing good for others as well as themselves, or only doing good for themselves when it's not when it's not hurting others. And, that's not always the case. And it's, unfortunately, it's real easy for folks to usually justify a lot of their actions a lot of times. But I agree with you, Grant, and certainly I think it's up to some of us to try to remain vigilant, just even around transparency. I think, it's a free country. People are allowed to do what they want. They're allowed to operate in sociopathic manners if that's what they choose to do, but it's nice when they do so transparently and not under the guise of, helping others when they're helping themselves. And again, that's okay. I don't hate people who want to take care of themselves, but don't do it with a smile saying, I'm here to help everyone else when often that's not the agenda, right? And so
there's nothing wrong with people trying to put food on their table, doing what they feel is in the best interest of their business. The only point I come back to time and time again is there's a reason why people who own business by law cannot regulate that industry. And it's not because we don't want business owners to have input on regulatory policy. It's because it would create a conflict of interest where that business owner would have an incentive to undermine public policy to protect their own profits. Does that make them morally abhorrent or monsters? No. It just means that they shouldn't be regulators. And that doesn't mean that they're monsters or terrible people or deserve scorn. Now, there are people who might go above and beyond that and actually do evil things, and you absolutely should call that out. But if you're just interested in your own business, you are not a bad person. But if you, like you're talking about, if you couch your personal business interests in the language of the public good and of equity, and it turns out that you're really trying to undermine those structures or sell them off. Now, let me give you a perfect example of this. So in Cambridge, and this is something that's close to my heart because I watched the process unfold from the spring of 2019 through when the law passed in September of 2019. What Cambridge was doing was they were passing what's called a cannabis business permitting ordinance. And this is what allows local cities and towns, their city councils, city manager, whatever it may be, to issue host community agreements to cannabis businesses, which then allows those businesses to go up to the state and get their state license, their provisional and then final license. Well, Cambridge wanted to create a 2-year priority period during which only economic empowerment or social equity, it turned out to be just economic empowerment, applicants could open an adult use cannabis store in Cambridge. Now, a lot of people like this idea because it could set a foundation for the type of priority period that other cities and towns could do as well. Well, you know who didn't like that idea? A few corporate medical dispensaries that were both nationally owned by a big time firm called AYR from Canada and locally owned by a firm called Revolutionary Clinics, whose owners are very wealthy white people from Andover. So this big firm, AYR, the owners of Sierra Naturals, and this local firm owned by very wealthy people from Andover, Revolutionary Clinics, came together to fight and try to prevent this 2-year period from passing. Now, obviously, they did this because they weren't, being giant corporations and white-owned firms, going to be allowed to operate during that 2-year priority period. They weren't going to be able to convert their adult use medical establishment to an adult use establishment for 2 years. They were so upset about that they, in essence, tried to create a scheme to buy their way in. Now, ideologically, it's just abhorrent to me that some white dispensaries, one owned by a billion-dollar company from Canada, one owned by some very wealthy white people from Andover, would feel that they were entitled to be licensed during a priority period meant for the people most harmed by the war on drugs. But on top of that, they also made a legal argument that just didn't even make sense, which was there's a line in the law, state law, that says local permitting ordinances cannot prevent a co-located medical establishment from opening as an adult use establishment. And they argued that that word cannot prevent meant that cities could not delay them from opening as well, which was just pointless. But anyway, so there's their two arguments. They argued they deserved to be in the priority period, and they argued that their interpretation of the law meant that they must be included. Well, Cambridge, the city councilor, said, no, we're going to go with this priority period. So the dispensaries came and then tried to offer a fund, which would create like a dispensary overseen fund of a certain number of dollars, $5 to $7.5 million worth of value, that applicants who are EEs in Cambridge could have applied to. They could have applied to get money from the fund, and in exchange, the RMDs would be allowed into the priority period. Well, when folks started looking into this fund, two things were uncovered. One, it turns out that most of the fund was not even cash or monetary assistance. It was in the form of shelf agreements, where one company says, we will give you product and you must sell X percentage of your shelf space must be dedicated to that product, right? So it wasn't even financial assistance. And then what ended up killing the dispensary proposal was on September 5th, 2019, as the council was about to make a final decision as to whether to go for the 2-year priority period or to let the RMDs buy their way into the period, the city council was sent a letter from the city councilor who was proposing the fund on behalf of the dispensaries, saying that the dispensaries had entered into a private, legally binding contract with the Central Square Business Improvement District to oversee this fund, And the reason why they had to write that was because so many folks were worried that it was kind of going to be overseen by the dispensaries, there wouldn't be any oversight, and it could lead to corruption. Well, 3 days later, on September 8th, the Central Square Business Improvement District wrote a letter to the city council saying, we never entered into a legally binding contract to oversee this fund. And in fact, we were never approached beyond an initial email to gauge our interests. So you can see what happened there. The RMDs wanted to undermine the 2-year priority period, so they offered money to folks to allow themselves access to that period. Would that money have helped a few companies in the short term? Absolutely. But would it have set the precedent that no other city in town could have created a priority period that excluded RMDs? Yes. And so that's what I was talking about to bring this all back, which is that sometimes what might be in the interest of 1 or 2 companies undermines very important public policy work. And that's why it's so important for folks who are in this space to be aware of how those machinations function. And I'm sorry for going so overboard and in depth today. I don't know where this passion is coming from.
Well, I mean, it's. I think a big part of it, though, is that, you know, potentially some of the folks that we've seen fighting for equity and fighting for their share of the cannabis industry, you know, a lot of them are still struggling. And, you know, what I would say, Grant, is, at least my opinion on this is, I don't blame revolutionary clinics, and I don't blame any of the holding companies or whatever for trying to fight for their share. And really, sometimes I try to think of, you know, if I were in their position, and maybe the justification is, hey, the more successful we are, the more good we can do. So if we fight for, you know, like, and we know that 90% of cannabis businesses out there fail. So if we do our best to, you know, be that driving force, then, you know, we feel confident that we can be helping out people. And that might be their justification, you know, and I'm not trying to put anything in anyone's head, but I don't blame businesses for trying to succeed. What I don't like is when folks aren't transparent about their methods and motivations. And, you know, I get it. I mean, you know, I think for many years now, I've talked to people about when they're like, it's so unfair for big business to have these massive tax breaks around things. The bottom line is that the tax laws and loopholes are actually available to everyone. It's just that most of us that don't make much of any money have no reason to take advantage of any of them. It makes no sense for us to do that, right? And so, but the bottom line is that, you know, and you know, Grant, even over the last few days where we've had some interesting incidents, sort of, where there's folks out there that, you know, we're all supposed to be coming from the advocacy side, but there's clearly different agendas and there's different things motivating different people. And, you know, I tried to spend a little bit of time putting myself in their place, because even as you were finishing up your piece and you're saying, you know, that you don't blame some people for wanting to take that opportunity, that because it really helps them. And they are part of the group of folks that are looking for help, right? Like, we're all part of this group. But, you know, as you're saying, maybe by taking advantage of that opportunity, it's putting others in a more difficult position to be able to take advantage of any opportunity, right?
Right.
And so, on one hand, you and I would love to sit here and be like, the altruistic thing is to definitely, like, always fall on the sword for everybody else, right? But I know that, and I can't speak for you on this, but even me, who normally operates in that, there are times when I'm like, hey, it's time for me. You know, like, I'm usually willing to give up whatever I need to. If somebody, you know, like, I'm usually, you know, the other day we didn't do a show because a good friend of ours was like, I need help. And we, like, dropped everything and we were like, no show, no problem. Like, we need to go help out a friend who is in great need right now, right? And so, you know, but I can also understand that sometimes, you know, like, empathy, there's no absolute between empathy and sociopathy, right? it's a graduated scale in between, and some we like to think we're always operating with empathy, but there are times when we operate as we're leaning a little bit more because we're making decisions of what affects us or what affects the ones closest to us, as opposed to, the universe on the whole and what's best for the universe. And so, I don't know. I guess just it's interesting because, like, I know people that work for revolutionary clinics. I know individuals that work for some of these companies. They're not bad people, It's and so, but it's also that, like, if you, Grant, because you're such a smart person, and I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, I'm just saying, like, you as a super smart person, if you were like, I'm opening a business and I need to make sure my business is successful. That's my top priority when I am making decisions about my business, is its success. Then you end up operating in sort of sociopathic manners because you don't care, as you can't prioritize emotional well-being and good versus evil, as opposed to profit versus loss. And so, even the medicinal cannabis industry is still, I'm sure there are good people that struggle with the idea that, like, ideally they could just operate in a way that's, like, making sure that people are getting the medicine. As long as we can keep our doors open and people can get their medicine, like, that should be enough. But in the meantime, they're still a business. It's even like nonprofits and charities run, and I don't know that you see this, but I see it all the time where nonprofits and charities don't always, like, they operate first and foremost like a business that is hoping to do some good for something, but they still constantly make decisions to operate as a business, because if they don't, they won't stay solvent and they won't stay open. And so it's just, I guess it's just this really, to me, it's this really interesting conflict, because on one hand, I can understand that if, I don't know that I would make the same decision, but if I'm just thinking, like, you're not Mike Dube for a second, you're just Revolutionary Clinics, and what would you do in that situation? And I'd be like, well, if I wanted, even if I have a nonprofit or a charity, if I want that charity to do good, I have to fight for that charity to be successful, right?
Yeah, no, I would not sue the city of Cambridge to undermine equity law because I didn't get my way. And that's the difference, I think.
Yep.
You can, of course, be, very protective of your business interests. You can be a well-meaning business person and also look at a situation and say, suing, yes, I want it to be included in the priority period. Yes, I realize that if I don't sue, other towns are going to have this priority period. But you know what? Equity is more important than my profits. And if you don't make that decision, you don't have to make that decision. You can sue the city of Cambridge because you feel your profits are more important than equity. But if you do that, you also have to expect that people might have a qualm with it. And I think that's the balance for these companies, because it's not just a matter of what is in the interest of their bottom line. It's what does the public think about their corporate decision making. Now, say what you will, I think you make another good point there. You were talking about how the whole structure of American democracy, from tax laws on the federal level down to the state level, down to municipal ordinances, is permeated by this culture of, if you can make enough money to influence the way the rules are written, you've won capitalism. But that is not free market capitalism. That is regulatory capture, which is where you win the game and then you go write rules so that only the way that you're playing the game is legal, and everyone else is then put on an unfair playing field. That's where I draw the line. If you're a company who says, I've done well and I want to create an equal playing field so that people can compete against me, may the best person win, great, I support you 100%. But if you say, I'm going to use what I've created, my market position, my market dominance, to create a monopoly, which is not legal, to influence regulations in a way that undermines the public good just to pursue my profit, and to do so in a way that's unapologetic, that's where it kind of steps over the line for me. If you try to create an unequal playing field to protect your market position, I have no problem telling you to your face that you're my enemy.
Gotcha. Well, Grant, your passion is always much appreciated, and definitely we appreciate that you spent so much time on your birthday with us today. And we didn't know until, honestly, like, because I'm not paying enough attention to Facebook to get the notifications about people's birthdays. So it wasn't until somebody in the comments actually mentioned that today was your birthday. So we definitely appreciate you spending so long with us today. This might have been our longest Grant one-on-one session.
It was, and I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate the opportunity to get into these kind of policy discussions. I think without this kind of platform and without folks like yourself who care enough to actually dive into these discussions, we would lose what little we have left of our democracy. So that's what I wanted to let you know there. As frustrating as it can be sometimes to really parse the details on some of these complex policies, this is democracy in action, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, and Grant, I think even to further that, what I would say is, when Grant and I are discussing things, y'all should be questioning everything, right? And including the things that Grant and I say, and media literacy, which is really important. Like, media literacy is an individual responsibility. So each and every one of you that are out there watching, just because you hear Grant or I having either the same or even differing opinions on stuff doesn't mean that you should be subscribing to that. It means that you should be paying attention, and you should be trying to find out more, and you should be coming up with your own opinion and your own, well thought out stance on stuff, because at the end of the day, there are still looming issues in Massachusetts and every other state where, sometimes there's a conflict between business and maybe what the greater good is. And so we all as individuals kind of need to figure out not only how we feel about that, but also what we can do to affect change if change needs to be affected.
And yes, exactly. Don't abdicate your duty to be informed, because even when it's from me, like Michael was saying, or from Michael, or from anyone, even people that you trust but verify. Well, go into the regulations, go into the laws, look up the text for yourself, come to a conclusion as to if it's the right perspective and if it's the right approach. The reason why there's so much corruption in our democracy is because people are so willing to say, oh, that person seems informed, I should trust them. Because you know what some people who get that trust do? They take it and they sell that position of trust for public relations purposes or to advance the profits of some company. So please, even if you like someone, be it me, Michael, otherwise, take the time to confirm what they're saying, take the time to look into what they're saying, and don't agree with them just because you happen to trust them or like where they're coming from. And another point before we go, because I think this is important, what I do really want to applaud, because I can sometimes be very critical of a certain corporate mindset, like I was talking about, that undermines a fair playing field to protect its profits. But I want to laud and really applaud the people who run businesses and take the opposite approach and fight for a level playing field. Because that, to me, is the type of person that should be running the Commonwealth Dispensary Association. That is the person who should be held up as a paragon of virtue for being a cannabis business owner. And they're out there. They don't put posts up celebrating the fact that they're doing things pro bono. They don't put posts up there celebrating the fact that they're fighting for a fair market, because the people who fight, the business owners who fight for those kind of things, are not looking to get credit for what they're doing. But I do want to take time to say thank you to them, because I think they're going to go on to be the industry leaders that shape this entire marketplace in a way that is not only fair, not only equitable, not only accessible, but also fundamentally rooted in a respect for that level playing field. And I think that's what's going to change the world. Those business owners coming to prominence and beginning to set the tone. So I want to thank them, and I know some of them are listening, so they know who they are.
Thank you, Grant. And Grant, we're so happy to have you on. Usually every Saturday, and that was totally my bad this weekend. But we appreciate you coming on today. We're looking forward to having you back on next weekend, and we hope you have a really happy birthday, Grant.
Man.
Thank you, guys. Nice to see you, Michael and Eric. Thank you for all the time. Have a good day.
Don't have too many strippers.
Chicken strips.
That's right. Thanks, Grant. We'll see you soon. Grant Smith, everybody.
I love hitting Grant with funny questions like that. He'd be like, yo, I definitely didn't want to answer this.
Up next, we have...
Remember you asked him about Shalene? He was like, what? This is my first time on the show. This is definitely my last one.
My last time. Yeah. No, he passed the litmus test somehow. I threw it at him hard, and then he came back. So, just gonna bring up a little Nate and Averill title action, and of course, $5 says they come in reversed again, but we'll see. Always do. Always happens.
Grant said, agreed, the city and the state are working on just such a fund, from what I understand, 0% interest and loan forgiveness. He was responding to hizzy delivery.
Oh, there's my ears. Jodi!
Oh my God, the crew! Oh, hey everybody. Oh, hey, thank you for the peanut butter cups. Ooh.
Those look amazing.
Yeah, Jodi, I don't know. You might have.
Yeah, I think I just took back seat.
Yeah, I think so. Them peanut butter cups was no joke. Ooh. See, Averill, she was making me some oatmeal cookies, and I don't know. We might have to have a battle of the bake-off. See who can satisfy me the most.
I'll let April step ahead.
Wow, Jodi.
Yeah.
It's like that? You're not even going to put up a fight? Oh.
No, we can look side by side. There's no fight to
Huh? What? No, I need to... This is Chop. We doing this like Chop. You got to
You
set...
just want to see a fight.
You got... Look at... This is like Chop Champion. Eric Martin edition. You know how they got what's the chef that they had? You like battle the
Chef or
yeah, I'm the judge, and I just sit there and I taste test both, and then I decide, and if it's a draw, and then y'all got to do it again. So it might be a few draws because y'all both so good. Who wouldn't want to see a continuous battle over and over and over and over and over and over? No, I just love you guys.
I have this post-quarantine, so it could just really be me standing in the kitchen getting a hug from Jodi. That's the whole thing. Oh my God.
What's up, Nate Diggity?
April, you just wait. We're gonna have to excuse ourselves with the hug.
What's up, Nate Diggity? How you doing?
Averill's like, yeah, Nate.
How is your
Stop
day,
bothering me.
Nate?
April's leaving? Yeah, I gotta go deal with my crazy dogs.
Hey, Averill.
Crazy life.
Hey, Averill.
Yes. There's my mate.
Hey, Averill.
What?
Your peanut butter and jelly cups were really good.
Glad you enjoyed it.
They was the
I need a
best.
sample.
Hey.
And just in case anyone has forgotten, we're having a contest for Averill's jam that you can choose. It's either going to be keto or not. You just got to tell her which one you want. You got to be 21 or over. And you need to guess Grant Smith's favorite philosopher. And if you guess that right in the comments, then you will win the jam. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. And so, Jodi and Nate, I want to thank you guys for joining us yet again as a part of the ongoing segments that we have called Green Nurse on the Grow here on Disrupt America, which we have every Sunday and Wednesday. And so we're really happy to have Jodi coming back all the time to show us the progress of her grow. She's got different plants in different stages. And she's been doing an amazing job. And Nate comes back every week and
sad.
gives her advice and gives her tips. And so we get to watch her plants grow. And by the way, we've tried some of Jodi's medicine before, and Jodi's impressive.
Knockout artist.
Jodi's already impressive.
Mike Tyson with the baker.
She was already impressive even without Nate's help, and now Nate's been helping her, and her plants are looking amazing.
She Mike Tyson when it come to baking. Knock you out first round. First bite you on the couch.
With Nate for growing and April with...
Let me tell you, Jodi cookies work so well that I ate the cookies and then Mike passed out. That's crazy, right? I ain't never heard no stuff like that. Where somebody, I ain't never heard of an edible giving a contact high. If y'all know, Mike don't sleep, so if he passed out, it's definitely something in them.
There's something in them cookies. So guys, we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for being so patient. It was Grant's birthday today, and normally Grant just sort of likes to, he's just trying to be polite, and he comes on the show and tries to spend 5 or 10 minutes, and then get out of here quickly before anyone really notices that he's here. And today he spent like 45 minutes because we were really into what was going on. So sorry for that. Thanks for being patient. With us.
Diggity.
And so that all said, why don't you take it away? Take it away.
All right, awesome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Nate.
Some of those photos, I don't know if April had shared the recent photos, but when I took the flowering plants out of the tent this morning for the show, I noticed that one of them was quite yellow. And I thought, they're all on the same feeding schedule, and I didn't seem to notice it yesterday when I was watering. So definitely when I turn the camera around and show you live, you'll get a better idea. But it seemed to be, it's not even just a couple of the leaves. It was like all over. It was all over the plant. And it's my Tanya OG, so I really, want to tend to this and make sure she pops back. But otherwise, I think everyone else seems to be growing well. I had a little mishap the other day that I was a little rough with 2 of my plants, and I had to splint it. And I splinted it with my first aid kit that had Q-tips and steri strips, which is like little butterfly tape for surgery. So, but it seemed to work for now. I put some cloning gel on it, and we'll see. But again, I'll show you. I'll see if I can get a close-up video of those. But let's turn this camera around. So
you heard a lot of plants.
You know what? Yeah. I'm bad with plants. You should see my phone. My whole phone, the face is cracked. Yeah, I'm butterfingers. I have arthritic hands. This is tough. And what I'm going to find tough when it comes to trimming, later on is that, it kills my hands. So I have to figure out, maybe you have some helpful hints on, how to keep my hands from cramping up when I'm trimming. But that's a later show. So let me turn the camera around. Okay, so we'll come first to my Tanya OG, which I was very sad when I saw how yellow these leaves are. And the buds seem to still be swelling and getting shiny, but this one's a pretty good leaf. It's just, they're all like that, very light and variegated, except really close to the bud. They're still kind of green, but it's not just at the bottom of the plant. It was all over. And they're all on the same feeding schedule. So, I don't know, it just kind of boggled my mind that, here, let me see if I can get in close to this.
Yeah, and very nice. Yeah, some of them just need more nutrients than other ones. You know, she's just more hungry than the rest. You just feed her a little bit more.
Okay. And today is a feed day. Once I get off doing this segment, but yeah, actually, just in the last day or two, she really seems to have gotten really chunky right there. I don't know if you can see the shininess, but she's very stinky as I come up close.
Yeah, she's frosty.
Okay, so you think just giving more food. Now, more food in quantity, or should I do like a feed and then go back to my water?
Yeah, feed and then a feed.
Okay. And that's because I don't want to overdo it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, so other than that, I mean, she's my worst looking plant, I'd say right now. So if that's the case, then I'm very happy. Then we come back here. This is the Hazy Bastards.
Hey, girl.
And I mean, some of those leaves are kind of, now that I'm coming up close, are kind of yellow, but it's not in the same way that the Tanya OG was.
Yeah, but she will be. So I would feed her too. Just feed them all. You know.
Okay.
Because yeah, you still have a little ways before they're finished, so you don't want them yellowing off yet.
Okay, yeah, this one I didn't think this one was. And then what about the so with this one, not only do the leaves look yellow, but it also looks like the very, very tips are kind of brown.
Yeah.
Is that just still?
That was just because you were feeding them heavy to get them to turn green again. It's fine. It's just a little bit of. It's not too bad. It's a little bit of nutrient burn.
So that just show. Okay, so that's nutrient burn, where the yellowing is nutrient deficiency. So I kind of had like two things going on, or was it just that I overdid it, and that's why I got
that plant was just very yellow, you know. So it's going to take a long time for it to actually fix all the different. And like I said, you could be plucking off a lot of those yellow, because that one has a lot of leaves. So you can be plucking off a lot of those yellow leaves, and then the plant won't be fighting to fix them, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. And this is the one that has lots of little golden hairs as well. It's the only one that has that look like amber hairs.
Yep.
Okay, and then we move on over to Matrix. And the light doesn't really, the light almost makes it look like, when I'm looking at it on my phone, the leaves look yellowish, but they don't look like that in person. I mean, they're not like the bright green of my plants and veg, but this one doesn't, in person, it doesn't look as yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, I would still feed her though. Just keep feeding them, you know. When they start to really, really swell up, that's when I'll give you the okay to just stop feeding them and just water them and let them fade off into yellows and different colors.
Okay, but that's not for a while yet.
Yeah, you got a few weeks.
It really is tough to wait.
Yeah, but you'll see.
But I mean, even with, like, I don't know if I have enough light on it, but definitely like the what do you call them? The sugar leaves, like they're.
Oh yeah, you definitely have a lot of trichomes going on.
Yeah. And then up close there. So those are my 3 flowering girls.
Very nice.
Like, we're gonna have to feed them, right? That's a definite must.
Yep. Everything else I think looks
So
really
I'm going to
good.
come in. Okay, awesome. So what I also put down here, so this is one of the seedlings that I had. Oh, see how it's stretched a ton. Now, is this something? And it's very, I don't know. It just seems to be, doesn't want to stay up. That's something that I can plant and just put more soil to make it more sturdy. I mean, see how it's just, it doesn't even want to stay up.
Yeah, yeah. You can
That
put
not
it,
work.
you can put it like a piece of wire from that label, like holding it, so it
Yeah.
keeps it standing up, and it will fix itself. You know, I wouldn't transplant it yet because it's too small. I don't have enough roots. But you can make it where it's standing up, where it won't fall down.
So more stabilizing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of splint it to the wood. Okay. And then this right here was one of my clones that seems to be doing well, and it's little still not quite ready for transplant, but seems to be taking.
Can you show me the top of that plant?
Uh-oh, what are you gonna say?
Is that hairs? Is that pistils?
Can you see it?
You got to give it more light.
You'd be able to. Okay. Yeah, actually, you know what? She is kind of being shaded by other plants where she's.
Yeah, she's going into flower.
So this is closer to the light. No kidding. Wow, I couldn't tell that at all.
Yep, that's a flower top.
See, and that's our master grower. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's,
You got to get the lights right on top of them things. Any little bit of light, and if it's not getting 18 hours of light, then it will go into flower.
Okay, awesome. So, once I get into my veg tent, we're definitely talking more. It's the last time using them, and I'm having a huge problem with that. It was funny that this is my smallest plant, and you were able to, I know it's a clone. See the pistils, is that what you just called them?
Yep.
That it's starting to, and is that what is what I'm looking for? Sexing them, or is that or is it something different?
It's the same. Like you might be able to like bend the branch and see like the little calyxes, because that's the pistils is the hairs, and then the calyx is the actual.
Oh, and the
is the sex.
Calyx is the sex organ.
Yep.
Okay. I think I was just getting the terms confused.
But if you look close on that one, you should be able to see it though. Well, even on any flowering plant, there should be calyx. There should be swollen, resonated calyxes on your flowering plants. Like if you look down the side of the stem, you should be able to see what that female pot looks like. It's just a little bit more swollen than it would look like in veg.
Okay.
So I'm saying like on the inside of the branches, way down, like even one of those big branches right in front of you.
Yeah.
See the tall one that's in the back.
This one right here.
No, the tall one that's in the back. That's more open.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take your camera and go down along the side of it, and you should see little calyxes. Yeah, see it right there, right in the middle. You just had it.
Oh.
That's what the female pot looks like. Well, I think that's a stipule, but I think on right along the side of that there should be another one. Right below you, right here over in the left corner. You can see them. Right down in the left corner of your camera. Or is it right for you? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's my left. And yeah,
You can see the
I'm
little
gonna try to
things
put
like
my there.
your
Right
finger, yep. And bring your finger a little
there.
bit lower. Lower. Keep going.
Lower.
Yep.
Oh,
Right there.
I think I see it right there.
Yep. That's what a
Okay.
calyx looks like. That's what a female pot will look like. It will just be a lot smaller on a veg plant. Yep, that's it right there.
Okay. All right. Now I see it.
And then the
Now
other
that I'm
trick
like
is on a
totally
male, it will have multiple balls or like multiple things protruding out of it, and that's kind of a sign that it's a male if it has multiple. Because if you look, there's only one on each spot. You know what I mean?
right.
That's
And
how females are. And then the male has multiple parts. But yeah, so now you know what that one looks
okay.
like.
Now I know what it looks like. Holy shit. Okay, that was awesome. Okay, so now I'm gonna pan out to my few veg plants that are now I want to go check my plants for all of those. Okay, so this. I mean, all of my ones in veg, I mean, I think I'm doing okay with the nutrients. They're all like this lush green.
For a while,
so I think
it will run out eventually, though. You know, but for a long time, the nutrients will give you some nice, beautiful plants.
Yeah, and it's just I really do have to just keep remembering to keep up with not letting them get too stretchy and leggy. And I don't know, as far my camera's going, as far as like down here, is that far enough off the soil, or should I be trimming up more of like this stuff?
That's fine. That's good.
Okay, that's okay. All right. And this one was this? Yeah, this one was one that I had like the 4 long stems that kind of actually like it's really stretching out. So I can't, this one I can't keep in my veg tent because it's too big. It would basically take up half the room in my veg tent. So I have this and the other 2 plants just out in the room with lights on, you know, all the time because I don't have a timer. But right now they seem to be doing okay. So I'm not gonna rush to get them into the tent. Like unless you think that they should be in the tent and not out here growing. It would just mean that I would have to switch out my other plants that are in the tent. But and this is another one that I had splinted. Let's get. This is the one that I sent you photos of.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see like how the break goes clearly right through the stem. But I mean, it amazes me that just split. I mean, look at all the green leaves still. I mean, it's been a while. I thought if it was going to die off, it would have died off by now.
Yep.
But, and I don't know if I should remove that makeshift splint, or just reinforce it with what is it? The planter's tape or the that fabric.
Yeah. I would just make sure that it's healed up before I remove it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll just reinforce it then as opposed to trying to fiddle with it, because I think that's where I run into my problems, that I try to fix things too much and then it just ends up ruining it. So is this one that I'm like right now I'm trying to look and see if I can see those hairs. Is this?
I would go to your biggest branches, whatever one is the biggest branch, and then look right in between it.
I mean, this seems to be my biggest, but maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Go down a little bit.
I mean, that almost looks like the. Do you see where I'm looking at?
Yeah.
Little teeny tiny hairs.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Am I not close enough? Okay.
Right underneath it, though.
It just time. I mean, that's.
The note underneath it, though,
Sorry.
I think you.
Oh, I see. Right down there.
Yeah. Can't really see it, though.
Okay, because I can actually. Oh, wait a second. Maybe is this a better angle? Because I think I see where you're looking.
Yeah.
I can get a better picture of it and send it to you.
Yeah.
But I think those are two little hairs. Okay.
Yeah, I would do that on all the plants you have in veg. I would find those particular spots, take a picture of it, and then edit the photo and make it a little bit closer.
Okay. I'm gonna pan around to go into the veg tent now. Yeah, because I mean, I think I'm still. I mean, definitely you showed me now that I've actually found, what you were talking about. It'll be a little bit easier. Oh, wait a second, I see it in here. Okay, so this one, I'm gonna bring you in real close because I think right there. This other leaf. See, I wish I had more hands. Do you see any of the hairs that I? Or no? I'm trying to get at a good angle. Yeah, I'll definitely I'll have to because definitely with the LED light shine down, it gives a different, it casts a different light too. Oh, what just happened? There we go. But these are ones that I had really trimmed up before. These are the ones that had gotten way lanky, and they're starting to come back a little bit. And then my other Tanya OG cutting. All right.
Very, very healthy looking.
Yeah, and then these are the ones that I planted back on April 7th that might need transplanted soon. These are in just little 1 gallon. Yeah, those might need to be I'll have to look and see what the roots look like, right?
Yep.
Ooh, Jesus. I'm knocking them over. But even once I transplant them, I'm going to run into a room issue again. So, and I actually do have, I think, one plant that's outside. So, I'm not quite sure. I mean, they're still not ready to put into flower yet, right?
They can go into flower at any time. You just want to make sure that you know what sex they are first. And by sexing them, you don't know. Half of those plants might be males, and then you would just be cutting them down, and then you would have all the space you need. That's why it's really important that you get in there.
Okay.
You get in there and you take pictures and you figure out which ones you know are female, which ones you know are male, and then which
Yeah.
ones you may need a week or two more to figure out what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how you'll clear up your room a little bit. Is just by sexing them plants and figuring it out. Yep.
This is my other one that I had broken and splinted. And I really thought that piece had wilted and had looked dead. And then with a little bit of my benign neglect, I had neglected it for a day. It seemed to come right back. So I don't know. They are pretty, and they are pretty hardy once, when you take the right steps, they do bounce back. I definitely think that's where it helps having you in my back pocket and you as guidance, because I think, I think it was, and I think I would have just, given up on half my plant once they started yellowing. That's what I've done before, or they've dried up or fed, I've always gone in action, but not anymore. Okay. So that's everyone. I'm gonna turn this back around. All right. So obviously for the flower girls, they're all gonna need to be fed today, and probably the Tanya OG at least will probably need to be fed again the next, instead of a water, do a feed with her.
Yep, correct.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And then, my earbud just fell out. So I need to do a lot of sexing with my plants. I think I'm gonna need to probably take a lot of pictures of my plants and have your guidance a little more, because I think,
Yep.
I mean, I'll definitely take a picture of the one that I know on that flowering one.
Yep.
But it seems as though it's really hard to see. And I actually have one of these jewelers magnifying.
That's what I use. That's exactly what I have. So you'll be able to see with that.
But I can't. I mean, it's because I have old eyes. I mean, even when I put glasses on and try to look through this, I don't see it any better. So
show your kids the picture of it and get them to do it.
Okay.
It can be anybody, as long as they know what they're looking for and they see it, you'll be able to determine it for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely get better and send them to you. Maybe I'll pop a couple plants in my car and bring them down to you so you can help me out. No, but I think just being able to identify, seeing it for the first time. I mean, I definitely have some kind of guidance, so I'll use that plant as my guide, and I'll just go through all of it.
And sometimes you get lucky and the hairs pop out. You know what I mean? Out of the calyx, the pistils pop out, and then it's easier for you to sex them. But sometimes it's just the green part. There's no hairs coming out. Right. But once you start to get the look of how it comes out and it bends down, and you'll get it. Once you do it a few times, you'll be fine. But yeah, you can send me the pictures. I'll walk you through it. Just get a bunch of pictures of each one.
Okay.
And you'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Well, hey guys, thank you.
You're awesome.
Thank you for letting us peek in on your grow session today. We really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to you guys coming back on Wednesday to show us the progress and see how it's going.
All right. Well, hopefully by Wednesday, I won't have any more yellow in my Tanya OG. I'm going to be doing some trimming of my hazy bastards and feeding.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great Sunday, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
All right. Thank
See you
you. Have a
Wednesday.
great day, guys.
Bye, guys.
May diggity see ya. Jodi, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was nice. It's always nice to have the two of them come in and do Green Nurse on the Grow and show us what's what. I know a few people, both Avril and Dan in the comments, were mentioning that there's little attachments you can add to your phone so that you can do the little microscope thing with your phone, which is pretty cool. That said, I think we're getting towards the end of the show, and we did have a winner today.
Oh, thought it was in this.
And
All right, let's get on to the winner. Woo!
what's up, CJ? CJ, if you end up, we give away prizes every day. If you, my buddy, he's not in the comments. I could just tell that he's watching.
What you mean you ain't in the comments, but you watching?
Well, not yet. He will in a second, probably. But
Hold on, CJ.
CJ, we're giving away
You better say
infused
something.
jam today. You should come back and watch every day because we give away free.
Better say something, CJ.
Usually it's infused
These
stuff.
bows up on you, homie. You might know what
CJ,
say.
you met CJ because when we went to the interview in New York City, we hung out with CJ before we. And after. That's the CJ.
That's CJ?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, CJ? You good, CJ? You good in my... Hey, you all right with me, CJ. You all right with me, homie. You all right with me. Oh, there she is. Amanda. Took you long enough. You supposed to be a top fan and you just logging in? Girl. We gonna have a talk after this. I'm not taking none of that. You don't log in. Was it 2 hours late? Hour and 54 minutes late? 56 minutes late? Oh, no. We're going to have to talk about this, honey. Talk to you after the show.
So let's see if she's here because today's winner is
Let's see.
Sheila.
Sheila Dove.
All right, Sheila, we're going to give you a few seconds.
You only
If you're
got
here,
a few seconds to comment.
where is Sheila?
You got 45 seconds. Count it like the microwave. Going by microwave.
What's up, Trish?
time.
Nice to see you, Trish.
Oh, you been here listening to Amanda? I didn't know. I'm sorry. Sheila. Oh, okay. You responded. She responded. I don't know. It was a little late.
Sheila.
You had about
2 seconds left. 2 seconds left.
1.8 seconds left. You lucky.
Sheila, you won today. You won the infused jam with your answer.
You better be.
And just for everyone, Grant's favorite philosopher is Immanuel Kant.
Emmanuel cannot.
So we appreciate you guys.
Yippee! I won. Sheila, you better come up with some better stuff than yippee. Nah, you better be in there. You better do all caps. You better act like Trish. You gotta do the all caps. Yay! Yahoo! Y'all know that sound. Everybody just have flashbacks right now. Their childhood. Wahoo! Wahoo! Everybody know who that is. Here we go.
Look, as soon as the show's about to end, we have like 18 people all joining in. It's like noontime. It's like just before noontime, a whole bunch of people.
Wahoo!
Come on in. Well, we appreciate you guys coming in, even
We
if it's the end of the show.
appreciate you, Sheila, for watching.
Congratulations, Sheila. And everyone, we give away stuff every single day, so if you just come back and watch, it's pretty easy to win.
Congratulations.
Usually pretty easy. Usually pretty easy.
Oh, congratulations. And we've made it to the end of the show. Oh, Sheila won, but we got to go. Oh, because Nothing else to talk about. We don't want to look at y'all. And I'm sure y'all don't want to look at us. But I'm probably sure y'all do. Because it's a little creepy too. But we got to go. Willie, what is you talking about morning? Willie.
He could be West Coast. It could be just before noon.
You
Where
got
he
lucky.
is. You got to remember.
You interrupted my song with that rude
You
comment.
snapped him. You snapped him right out of his song.
Talk about some good morning, bro. It's the afternoon. It's noon here, brother. But it's time for us to go. Willie ruined the song, so I don't know what to say no more. Hitting me with a good morning and it's noon. So it's time to go. Peace.